Sinadoni. Oh, and Cunningham is down. My goodness.
Sophie Cunningham just became the latest victim in the Indiana Fever's season-on-the-line drama. During a nail-biting overtime win against the Connecticut Sun, Cunningham collapsed in clear agony, clutching her knee after a brutal collision. The moment froze the arena. And if you're watching this, you know that's the kind of moment that changes everything. But here's the thing. This team is already walking a tightrope. Without Caitlin Clark, Ari McDonald, and Sydney Colson, key players all sidelined, Cunningham was a stabilizing force. Her absence wasn't just emotional, it tilted the balance of a playoff push that has felt more like a high-wire act with no safety net. So what just happened on that court? How did Cunningham's injury shift the story mid-game and even mid-season? And what does it mean for Indiana's playoff hopes now?
What is it about this group, where resiliency, things like what happened to Sophie, what is it about them that seems to bring the best out in them?
It's going to be hard to talk about without getting emotional. I mean, first and foremost, they're good human beings.
Stick around, because we're breaking down the instant shock and emotional weight of Cunningham's injury, how the Fever gutted out a historic comeback despite the chaos, what the medical outlook could mean for the rest of the season, why this injury might reshape not just their lineup, but their identity. The Indiana Fever's overtime showdown with the Connecticut Sun had everything a fan could ask for. High stakes, electric plays, clutch shots, and the kind of drama that keeps you glued to the screen. Crowd was roaring, and it felt like the Fever were writing the kind of story that could change their season's trajectory. But then, the nightmare moment hit. With just minutes left, Sophie Cunningham, the fiery heartbeat of this squad, went down. 1 second, she was hustling like she always does. The next, she was clutching her knee in visible pain.
When Sophie goes down, I guess, just how did you guys rebound from that? How did you regroup from that? How long did it kind of take you to get out of that fog, so to speak, after watching the team go?
I felt like it was deja vu, man, to be honest. I felt like I just saw AB on the ground covering somebody else up, and it was just, I think part of it is really, really, truly humbling.
And let's be real here, folks. The sound inside the arena flipped in an instant. It wasn't cheers, it wasn't applause, it was silence. The kind of silence that makes you hold your breath, because deep down, you know this could be serious. Now let's talk about Sophie Cunningham for a second. She's not just a role player you can swap out like a Lego piece. She's the spark plug, the player who dives for loose balls like they're diamonds, the one who knows how to rattle an opponent just by existing in their space. Sophie is that rare mix of grit, toughness, and yes, a little bit of mischief. Because let's not pretend she hasn't gotten under plenty of opponents' skin. She thrives on it. It's part of what makes her so valuable. So, seeing her limp off the floor, that's not just a blow to the Fever, that's a gut punch.
Now, you guys know when the Indiana Fever and the Connecticut Sun match up against one another, we are always entertained, whether it is the good, the bad, or the ugly. And in today's game, we had a little bit of all three. It was a wild roller coaster ride.
This isn't losing a stat line, it's losing an identity. Cunningham embodies the hustle this team leans on when shots aren't falling, when Clark needs a breather, when the defense looks like it might crack. And suddenly, with one wrong step, that identity was hanging by a thread. And here's where the nightmare really sinks in. Knee injuries are like a coin toss you never want to flip. Sometimes it's nothing, a tweak, a scare, and you're back in a week. Other times, it's the dreaded word, season ending. And in that moment, no one knew. Not the coaches, not the players, not the fans, frantically scrolling Twitter like they were solving a murder mystery. All anyone knew was that Sophie Cunningham, the player who brings that fire every night, wasn't finishing this game. Now, if you're thinking, okay, but the Fever won, right? So at least they've got momentum. Sure, technically they got the W.
As we went to commercial, Sophie Cunningham hit the floor hard, and she is being helped off the floor, heading back to the locker room. This is the play that just occurred.
That's like she tries to slide over right there, and Hartley just kind of falls and makes collision with that lower leg. You see her immediately grab it.
But let's not kid ourselves. This isn't high school basketball where you celebrate with pizza no matter what. Wins in August mean nothing if the roster can't hold itself together in September. And watching Sophie limp away, that win suddenly felt a little less sweet, like biting into your favorite candy bar and realizing it's hollow inside. And before we dive deeper into what this really means for the Fever's playoff push, let me pause and ask, are you following along with this roller coaster? Because trust me, this is just the beginning of the chaos. If you're hooked, if you want the latest breakdowns, rumors, and inside looks at what's happening around the league, hit that subscribe button and smash the notification bell. That way, you won't miss a single update as we track just how much this injury could derail the Fever's fight for respect.
You know, they're selfless, they're tough, they don't care who gets the credit, they don't care whose day it is. They got something inside of them that you just can't teach.
Because the win is in the books, but the fallout? That's just beginning. When Sophie Cunningham limped off the court with a knee injury early in the second quarter, it felt like the Indiana Fever had taken yet another harsh blow. Already playing without Caitlin Clark, groin, Ari McDonald, foot, and Sydney Colson, ACL. This felt like the final straw. But here's where resiliency became their middle name. With Cunningham out, the Fever looked like they were heading toward the exits. Connecticut had soared to a 21-point lead at halftime, powered by suffocating defense and scorching shooting, 57.6% from the field, including contributions like Marina Mabre's 12 points and Layla Lacan's 8 first-half assists. It was the Suns' best half all season, and Indiana looked like they were checking out early. But sometimes adversity acts like a spark.
But on another side, I think seeing Soph go down, it kind of like, it fuels you, man. If you care about your team and you care about the people in your locker room, I can't even explain it to y'all. Like, you just really got to care about the people that you play with. And I think it just fuels who we are as people, and y'all get to see it as a team for us.
When the team regrouped at halftime, they tackled the second half with laser focus. Aaliyah Boston embodied that shift, grinding every offensive board, contesting every shot, and sounding like a veteran even while shouldering more responsibility. Her stat line reflected that impact. 14 points, 13 rebounds, 5 assists, plus 2 steals and 2 blocks. And then came Kelsey Mitchell's eruption. After being held scoreless in the first half on 0 for 7 shooting, Mitchell unleashed a career-high 38 points, scoring 34 in the second half alone. Legend has it she put Indiana on her back, unshackling with pull-up threes, drawing fouls and laying in finishers. When Mitchell heats up, Indiana flips into another gear.
You heard and you saw what Coach White had to say after the game about her team. This win meant something to them, and I even put as the title of my live stream today, I said must-win game. It is a must-win game because the Indiana Fever are still on the cusp of playoffs. There is still a chance that they don't even make the playoffs.
Odyssey Sims, too, stepped into high-leverage moments, pouring in 19 points and dishing 7 assists to stabilize the shaky backcourt. Natasha Howard contributed, sealing boards and zoning the paint. Suddenly, the ball movement looked sharp, offense ticked up, and the energy that vanished with Cunningham's injury returned, now fueled by determination. The benches rallied. Fans sensed the shift. Indiana chipped away, possession by possession, until the scoreboard reflected what was on the court: hope. By the fourth quarter, it was anyone's game. The Suns seemed stunned by the shift, their earlier dominance dissolving. Kelsey Mitchell's and one tied the game within the final seconds. The arena buzzed, and in overtime she scored 10 of the Fever's 15 points, including back-to-back threes that clutchily tilted the game. Lexi Hull added a dagger corner 3. 3 as the final dagger. Rally mode activated. Indiana didn't just survive, they rewrote the script. In a league where 20-point comebacks against are virtually non-existent. WNBA teams are only 29 to 1,722 when trailing by 20 or more at any point. This one felt seismic. But questions remain. Was this comeback a spark or sustainable transformation? Winning with heart is one thing. Doing it without Cunningham amid playoff heat is another, and the true test arrives in the next chapter. As thrilling as the comeback was, we have to talk about the fallout. Because Cunningham's injury isn't just a sad moment. It could reshape the Fever's season. Statistically, Cunningham is one of Indiana's most impactful players. She's shooting 44.3% from 3, ranking among the most reliable shooters in the league. Her net rating tells the story, plus 1.8 when she's on the floor, minus 3.5 when she's off. That's not just nice to have. That's the difference between winning and losing. Take her out and suddenly defenses collapse harder on Mitchell. Boston sees more double teams. The spacing evaporates. The Fever don't just lose a player, they lose balance, and the timing brutal. Indiana sits at 19-16, clinging to a playoff spot by the slimmest of margins. With just 5 games left, there is no cushion. Every possession matters. Every win, every loss, has playoff implications. Coach Stephanie White admitted after the game that she had no answers yet. The team will wait for MRI results, but the uncertainty is a problem in itself. How do you game plan when you don't know if one of your best shooters will be back tomorrow, next month, or not at all? There's also the emotional side. This roster has been gutted by injuries all season. Losing Clark was devastating, but the Fever rallied. McDonald and Colson went down, and they adapted. Now Cunningham. At some point, the emotional toll becomes unbearable. Teammates can fight all they want, but mentally, it's draining. And then there's the fan base. Indiana fans, who have endured years of rebuilding, finally had hope. Watching their team lose yet another cornerstone piece feels cruel. The reaction online has been one part heartbreak, one part anger, especially at the officiating and physicality of the league. The fallout is real, and unless someone else steps up to fill the Cunningham-shaped hole, the Fever could find themselves stumbling at the finish line. So here's the big question. Who are the Indiana Fever now? With Cunningham out indefinitely, the team faces an identity crossroads. Are they a gritty squad that can rally through anything? Or are they a team destined to collapse under the weight of bad luck? The evidence points both ways. On one hand, their comeback against Connecticut was legendary. It showed heart, resilience, and fight. That's the DNA of a playoff team. But comebacks built on emotion are hard to sustain. Over a 5-game stretch, teams need structure, not just adrenaline. Coach White now has to reinvent the rotation, again. Without Cunningham, she loses both floor spacing and defensive versatility. Odyssey Sims may need to shoulder more minutes. Players like Boston must expand their offensive roles. Even bench players will be tested. It's not about replacing Cunningham, it's about reshaping the team around her absence. The identity shift also runs deeper. This isn't the same team that started the season with Caitlin Clark running the show. It's not even the team that adjusted after McDonald and Colson went down. This is now a team defined by survival, by resilience, by refusing to quit no matter what. But can that identity win in the playoffs? That's the mystery. And that's why Indiana's next few games might be the most revealing stretch of their season. So here's where we land. Sophie Cunningham's injury could either be the breaking point, or the spark that forges this team's final identity. Tell me in the comments. Do you think Indiana can hold on without her? Or is this the moment their playoff push unravels? If you believe resilience is stronger than luck, smash that like button. And don't forget to subscribe, because we'll be here breaking down every twist, every injury, and every miracle finish. Because in the WNBA, every season is fragile, every player matters, and every game tells a story bigger than the scoreboard.